Cry It Out Loud, a podcast by Chasing the Rainbows with your host, Bernice Quisenberry.
Trying to conceive after loss changes everything. The hope feels different, the way fear shows up, and the way pregnancy announcements land in your body. You can be genuinely happy for someone you love and still feel completely undone. You can want another baby more than anything while missing the one you lost just as deeply. Today on Cry It Out Loud, we're joined by Sarah, known as Sarah the Detox Coach on Instagram, who is bravely breaking the silence around grief, infertility, trying to conceive after loss, and the emotional complexity of trying again. Sarah, thank you so much for being here and for giving words to an experience so many of us carry after loss.
Thank you for having me. Seriously, I love what you're doing here. It means so much to me to be able to have this community and to be able to integrate my community with you guys as well. It's such a beautiful thing that you're doing. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. And it does. It means so much to have your voice, have you a part of us, in a volunteer capacity and just really spreading that message. And one of those things, I feel like in a society sometimes when we're opening up or sharing about our losses and then trying to conceive after and, seeing others around us having babies, everybody's like, well, try to remain grateful for this, remain grateful for that. And it's really hard to find that gratitude sometimes when we're in the depths of it. And I would love for you, to talk about things that you've experienced with that.
For sure. And sometimes I keep coming back to this one statement that, for one, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. There's a lot of people out there that this world is so crazy right now, but people feel the need to input something. They may be trying to be nice. They might be best interest at heart, but sometimes it's just like them just sitting with you in silence, just saying, I support you, not trying to input your advice, not trying to give wellness tips or what worked for their cousin. Sometimes just being present with that person is more important than anything else. Second, it is so hard and so difficult because I know the last time that we talked, it was the holidays, and we went over like how difficult the holidays are for me personally, and everyone else out there who is navigating infertility or baby loss, how difficult, especially Christmas and New Year's and all of that is, because it seems like everybody's announcing pregnancies. And for me, I had the unique experience. My fourth nephew was born December 22nd. And so we got to travel home for the holidays. And it was such a weird thing for me to experience because flashback to when my sister told me that she was pregnant for the fourth time. She was so nervous to tell me, because she knew everything that, I had been going through, everything that I've been through. And she was so nervous to tell me. And it's like, I struggled with that because of course I'm happy. I've got another nephew. Of course I am. But I mean, it is hard to hear, someone who so close to you is so easily able to get pregnant, and you want to be happy for them, but you're feeling waves of emotion of, grief and jealousy, and, all of those things are very valid and very important for you to navigate when you are going through grief. It's so important to feel those things. So it's okay if you feel, anger or jealousy, that's something that you just pray on it, you work on it. And, it's completely normal to have those feelings. And I feel like this time around, being 37 years old, trying to conceive, I have this entire new outlook on, everything that I've been through with 5 losses, having a rainbow baby, and experiencing all of these people around me having babies. It's just I look back, and my journey is this time around is so different. And so, I'm very thankful for the experiences that I did get to have and being able to share it with everybody else. So if I could give you one big piece of advice, it's to try with all of your might to focus on being present in today. Focus on the emotions that you are feeling. No matter what they are valid. And
Yes.
Work on those emotions and that focus on that one thing that you can for the day. And then the next day, focus on whatever else that you're feeling. Because if you take things one day at a time, you're going to get to a point where you look back and you're going to realize how strong you are, how capable you are. And it's kind of freeing once you get to that point where you are able to hold your best friend or your sister's little baby and feel all of the things and not feel guilty for feeling all of those things. You will get to that point where you're able to process all of those emotions in one time. I promise you will get there.
Yes. Absolutely, Sarah. And, just circling back to what you said, a lot of times people say things to make themselves feel better. So like in those moments when we're opening up, we're sharing about our losses, and they're so well intended, but they feel like they need to give us advice because we didn't already hear it, even though, when we're in this world, we already are fully aware with things that we should do with trying to conceive, all the different things, right? Like we research it and like go down those Google deep dives and everything like that. But it really is for themselves when they say things. They're like, oh, I feel like I helped. And really it's like, no, you just got me to shut down. And, and then we walk away politely because like, what else are we going to do in those moments? It's like, okay, they're just not seeing me. They're not listening. And they're not just sitting in silence with us, which is huge. And then, you said it so well, jealousy and envy, they can live while we're still experiencing joy and happiness for others. And that's a natural and human reaction and emotion that we can feel in all of these things, and just feeling all of those emotions, because yes, you're valid. Yes, they're legitimate. They're so important for us to feel. We say like, you need to feel it to like heal it and like work through and really process, and staying present, like one day at a time. Sometimes it's like 1 minute at a time. Sometimes it's 1 hour at a time, but really like figuring out like, what do you need in those moments to help you cope and to help you, process, because it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. And I know, when we were going through, and I loved how you shared that, Sarah, like, especially, trying to conceive and just years of it and watching others around us just getting pregnant. And I was getting older, 37, 38. And like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I know I have like more issues now because of that, like ticking bomb that they make you feel like with your egg timer and all the different things. And it's like, in this season, our friends and family and loved ones around us are, conceiving and getting pregnant and announcing it. And the holidays, it's always so much heavier too. And I know they're thinking it's a gift, and it is. And it's a beautiful gift. But when you're in the depths of it, right? It's just so heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. You said that very well, because it brought me back to a conversation that I was having with my sister. So, we were in the bathroom, we were getting ready for dinner, and, it's like my handle is Sarah, the detox coach. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory. When I first started this journey, after my 5th miscarriage and started sharing my story, I had no idea the complexity of what it was going to become. I started this because I learned something. I hired a private hormone clinic, and they taught me about endocrine disruptors. And so my entire thing that I wanted to start, I just wanted to share bits of information with women who have the similar story as me and help them detox their life from environmental toxins. I'm not well versed in a lot of medical terms, I should say. I'm not a medical professional by any means, but I did the research. I read the clinical studies. I read books. I follow all these fertility doctors, and the ones that are doing good in this world are all saying pretty much the same thing. There's root causes to everything. So anyways, that's how my handle came about. And so me and my sister were talking about like non-toxic swaps that we make here and there. And, she's a lot more lenient about, certain things. she does care about detoxing her environment for the sake of her children. But she's not as particular as I am, right? Well, you know, I'm like if it has this ingredient or that ingredient, it's a hard no for me. And it makes me wonder, you know, why does my sister, we came from the exact same background, grew up in the same environment. Why is it so easy for her? You know, and like these things go through my head. She doesn't care like I do. She doesn't, you know, have to revolve into her entire life around trying to conceive. She just gets pregnant so naturally. Like how? And it's like, you know, in that moment, like we were just getting ready for dinner and I'm having all of these thoughts in my head. And you know, I stopped myself because it just made me doubt everything.
Yeah.
And I realized like that's one, completely normal for me to feel this way. And that was a phase of grief for me, you know, like questioning all of these things, like why two people raised in the same household, how can our fertility journey look so different? But you know, at the end of the day, like I realized that that's not my story. That's not what I was called to do. And I later, you know, when I got home and I was settled and I was reflecting on everything, I realized like my purpose came from in spite of everything that I've been through. Had I not gone through any of that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be so grateful for the things that I do have. And not saying that you have to, you know, I'm not trying to say a cliche statement to like be grateful or anything like that. It took a lot of work for me to get there. I mean, 2 years of navigating, you know, processing my feelings and emotions and everything like that. It took 2 years. And that's just a starting point for some people. I mean, some people, I think it can take 6 to 10 years to be able to have that like aha moment.
Yeah.
And so wherever you are in your timeline, just know that it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling right now. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel like, oh, well, time isn't on my side. You know, like, first of all, I mean, 35 is the new 25. You know, people are having babies later in life. That is a statistic.
Absolutely.
Don't feel rushed by any timeline whatsoever. You have to be emotionally ready to start to try to conceive again. So no matter where you are in your journey, do not worry about time. Just trust in yourself. Trust that, you know, what is meant for you will happen in time. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel you so much on that. Like when I made the egg timer, or, you know, earlier, it is true. Like society makes you feel that way, like you do. But realistically, people are having babies into their 40s and stuff like that. And, you know, having a good care team and having the right doctors beside you and everything like that makes a world of difference, you know, and all of that on your journey and what that looks like for everyone. It's so true. And, you know, what's interesting, Sarah, so, you know, of course, like took you 2 years to like process, work through, like really navigate what this life was, right? And like what your purpose is and all of that. Like what boundaries did you feel like? Because I know myself, like I had to set a lot of boundaries, like self-protection and also protect my peace. Because I feel like that was so important in those moments too. Like, what did you, you know, have to do in that, you know, 2 years to really, you know, process?
I did a lot of self-reflecting. I did a lot of, if you're not for me, I'm done. Because if you're not willing to meet where I'm at and make me feel comfortable and safe, you are going to be a season in my life. And I'm not saying that like you can't come back in the future. I'm saying I'm doing whatever I possibly have to protect my peace right now. And so I got really comfortable at saying no and protecting myself first. And I don't care how selfish that looked to anybody, family, friends included. If you weren't meeting me where I was at, I was cutting you off. Yeah. And a lot of people have a really hard time doing that. And just, I mean, talking to friends even, they're just so willing to accept things from friends and family. People are in close circles to them. They're so willing to just, oh, well, they're family, or, this person's been my best friend for 20 years. And when you're in the middle of something like baby loss, and if that person hasn't truly, if they've never had to experience baby loss from themselves, they will never understand to the fullest what you are going through. And if they're not willing to just go on Google, what can I say to, or what should I say to somebody navigating miscarriage? If you're not willing to do that, then you are a part of a season that I'm putting behind me at this point in time. And that's okay. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to prioritize someone else's feelings while you are trying to process your own feelings.
Yes.
You are not responsible for protecting their feelings.
Yes, absolutely. You're not responsible. And they like that emotional and like intelligence and things like that. And I think, going back to traumatic baby loss, like realistically, like gets us there to that point of protection, right? And like setting those boundaries, and no is a complete sentence, no period. And also seasons and reasons. Oh my goodness. Yes. And like, if somebody's not meant to be in our lives forever, or they come in, they enter, they leave, they come back, whatever it is so spot on. And whoever's meant to will be, all of that. But it's also, like you said, like, it's not about them. It's about you and what you need. Put that oxygen mask on first, making sure that you're doing whatever in your power to get you back to a place, that you're not in like fight or flight all the time, and like literally survival mode. And if they can't understand that, that's sad. It really is. And they're just not meant to be, and I think getting to that point and understanding that, is really difficult, especially when you're a people pleaser, or, you always have been. And it could take it could take 6 months to a year. And at first I remember it being like, I don't want to lose one more thing in my life right now. And so it was all of that. And I was like, oh, this person has always been there for me. But when I really reflected, like journaled and like really thought through who has been there for me and is willing to get uncomfortable. That's the thing too. Like, I have been so willing to get uncomfortable to be with people and sit with them in their grief. And I'm not saying that for kudos or anything like that. It's like, who is willing to sit there with you and feel the silence, feel everything with that person, cry with them, like all of the things, and make yourself, and even if it's not uncomfortability, just like entering into that situation, is the ones that are your like true soldiers beside you, like the ones that rally around you and are meant to be in your life, is what I felt like too, Sarah.
And some of those people are allowed to be complete strangers.
Yeah.
Yep. I was more comfortable telling my story with thousands of strangers than I was with my own best friend and my husband. I was more comfortable telling my story to strangers, and that is okay. You do whatever it is that you have to do to talk about it.
Yes.
With whoever is going to give you the reaction that makes you feel safe and at peace.
Yes.
And you brought something up, and I just wanted to just talk about it really quick. So fight or flight. And I know that's like a trendy buzzword right now because everyone in the wellness space is talking about fight or flight, right?
Yeah. But it's like nervous system regulation, and it's all of that with trauma and all of it. Yeah, Sarah. Yeah.
So I want to talk about that for a minute, because I've spent the majority of these past 2 years learning to identify that my body was stuck in fight or flight. And let's just put that in perspective, what that actually means. That means we've gone through trauma. So trauma is one of the biggest things that's going to affect your nervous system. Your nervous system shuts down, and you experience high levels of stress, grief, trauma, unprocessed feelings, all of these built up feelings, just feelings on feelings and feelings. And your body shuts down. Mm-hmm. And here's me after my third and even fourth miscarriage. I was like, every third month I was getting pregnant. I'm ready to have a baby. I just want to have a baby. But knowing what I've spent the last 2 years doing is focusing on nervous system regulation, getting my body out of fight or flight, because your fertility, your everything relies on your nervous system. And world-renowned fertility doctors are talking about this right now. Mm-hmm. And so this is very, very important that I know, trust me, I know more than anyone. I've had 5 miscarriages. I know how impatient you are, how rushed you feel, and how desperately you just want a baby in your arms. I want you to slow down. I want you to focus on your feelings and being able to learn how to regulate your nervous system. I want you to go ChatGPT it, ask ChatGPT what you have to do to regulate your nervous system. What are the signs that I'm looking for? What are the symptoms that I'm experiencing? And just work on that. Talk about your feelings, and then notice how your body is going to react.
Yes.
I want you to notice that.
Absolutely. And that's why we have nervous system regulation videos. We hold a once a month free session for it. Like it really, right. And we have a couple fertility docs that have talked about this. And it is. It really, like, I feel like do you ever have those, like you were saying, the aha moments or the me too, me too, mm-hmm. me too? So when someone else is sharing, or I feel like it's relative, it's like, yes, I just feel this. And yes. I felt that too, like with PCOS and endometriosis, like whenever I read anything about that or like side effects, things like that. And it's like, yes, like this all makes sense, right? Because I was diagnosed with those things like, oh, this is why my body does this. This is why I react to this. This is why this. It's the same with this. Yes. And seeing trauma responses and grief responses and how your body just reacts is like,
hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, just looking into that, helping along the journey. And if that recommendation is, helpful for you, definitely, go down that path and journey. And we're here for all of it, of course, but yeah. Yes, Sarah.
But learning how to just talk, right?
Yeah.
Because like for a long time, I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I started sharing it with the world that I realized, how freeing that was for me to be able to talk about it out loud, to recognize, my losses and that I was living in trauma. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I got all of that out of my system that I was able to look back and see how far I've come. So if you can get to a safe place and talk to somebody completely unbiased, talk to a stranger or whoever, just get it all out there. And I promise you'll feel so much better.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I call it trauma dumping. Like I do it. And it does. It feels like it's like cuts your pain in half each time you do it. And the more comfortable you get. But it's so validating when you're doing it in a room with people who understand what you are going through and they have been through it. And it's a whole different, like in support groups, I even am on there sharing because, you still like, I still have things I need to get out. Like each day is different. And, this is not a process that like we just get over either. We don't just forget about the babies we lost. And some days are easier than others, and being years out, from it, it's still like, there's times, there's dates, there's all of those things that take you right back there sometimes. And just like sharing is a whole different thing with someone like you and I today, Sarah, talking about this. It's like, yes, I feel like a bobblehead over here. I always say that.
Yes. Do you ever feel like it's so hard to make adult friendships, but then you find people who have been through what you've been through and you're like,
are we best friends?
Yes, right.
We used to be brothers.
Best friends.
Instantly became best friends. It's so true. And it's like when you share like a similar trauma, or experience, it's like, gosh, you just see me. Like you just get me.
I don't feel judged.
Yes. Don't have to over-explain. Not going to be judged. I can sit here and share different things. You're going to be like, yep, I get that. Even if you have an experience, you're going to get it though. I could get how you got there, or how you thought that. Yeah. Thanks.
And my biggest thing was I was so nervous telling people about how I was feeling because I just felt like I was being judged and like, for saying negative things. And I'm like, I'm not a negative person.
Exactly.
I'm pretty neutral, right? Yeah. Like I vent, but I just felt like the things that people were probably saying about me behind my back, just because I was being honest with my feelings. It's just like I felt so much pressure.
Yeah. sorry you can't handle my feelings. Like I'm sorry that you want me to church this up. You want me to like fluff it and make it look pretty, but I'm not pretty with a little bow right now. Like I'm just being honest and real so I can help the next person too who
Life is
experiences
messy.
this. You don't say those things to them or, come at them with these things. And it's like when people ask you, how are you doing? They don't really want to know how you're doing.
No,
Like, especially in this situation. It's like, but do you know how many times I just like, blah? And I was like, whoops, like that probably wasn't the situation, but it doesn't matter anyways. And it's like, okay, well, they made me feel unsafe. Like never again, like I'll avoid them, like, but
Yeah.
it's also like, don't really ask me that if you don't want the right answer, or if you want your answer, because sometimes you're not going to get it. Cause like, didn't you also, I felt this so much. I lost like my ability to really cushion things. Like I'm not just going to sit here and say what you want me to say when I have no bandwidth right now because I'm literally in survival mode, that fight and flight right at the beginning, especially like, so there's nothing right now. I don't have it in me to like sugarcoat this for you.
No. And they want those, and they do. I feel like they want that Instagram influencer life, like where, like, okay, so sometimes when I'm shooting reels, I'm like, if you have my counter and you would zoom out all of the mess that's on each side, like that's literally what they want. They just want that zoomed in focus.
Yes.
Of, oh, how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah. Good.
And then you start talking, you're like, okay, I need to just.
Yeah.
They can't answer it. They just cannot.
Yeah, they can't handle it, honestly. And then, like I said, people want to feel better by saying something to you, like to make themselves feel good. Like, oh, I addressed it. That's great. Like I said it and things like that. And it's like, no, like, and it's the same here. Like, okay, you asked me how I'm doing. You just want the good. Okay. Like you want the generic.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm just, getting on with life. And it got to a point where I just felt like I couldn't even answer those questions anymore. Because I don't have it in me to be fake. I don't.
Yeah. Superficial conversations out the window. Like unless somebody wants to get into like, just like depths, like I can't, that's shallow water. I can't just hang out in shallow water anymore. It has to run deep for me, Yeah.
And that is the exact moment when you realize you have to set a boundary with that person.
Exactly.
And it's
shallow
not
water.
It's not like they did anything wrong. It's not, but it's also not like they did anything right either. And if they're not for you in that season, then that's just when you got to realize that you have to cut that person off for the time being to protect yourself.
Nothing is forever unless you want it to be, right? And it's just self-preservation. It's like you were saying, like the safety, the security, all of those things that is so important in our healing process. And, really is just to focus on ourselves. We have to be selfish. It's not even being selfish. It's self-care. I have to and I'm saying that out loud because I also have to repeat that to myself. I'm literally in survival mode. Self-care is extremely important and doing whatever we have to do to survive, like you were saying too, Sarah.
Yes.
Spot on.
Amen to that. Amen to that. It is ridiculously hard, especially now when, the world is so loud and everything we do, I feel, is criticized or judged or, I mean, you can say one thing and somebody's going to interpret it 20 different ways.
I know.
And so it's just like, if you can't say out loud how you're feeling or just how you feel in general and not feel safe to say it, that's when you got to take a step back and try to find your tribe of like the person that's always nodding their head. Yes, I get it. There is that person out there. There is.
Your trust circle. Absolutely. It's really like who's going to be in that circle. My circle got real small. I used to have like a huge serving plate size of people in my life. Right. And it was like quantity over quality. And now it's like a handful of people. And
it's like the people that, you've been friends with forever. Like literally half my life, I've been friends with some people. And then they're always wanting the good parts. They always wanted the gossip or, what show or whatever. But the moment that you get real and raw, they shut off.
Yeah. It's like,
and it's really hard to explain to that person who you love deeply. You care about them so much and you cherish all of the memories that you've had half your life, but they're not meant for you this season.
That's
And
okay.
it's okay to tell them, hey, I need to take a step back from this friendship right now just to protect myself.
Yeah.
Like, and it's ridiculously hard because no matter what you say, you're going to be hurting their feelings. But you're going to have to get to a point where the only way that you find true healing is if you protect yourself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yep. And it's so true. If you don't feel like you can be honest or trust somebody with your heart and your feelings and just really feel a sense of comfort when you're with someone, when you're openly sharing and being raw and real with your true self and getting it out there, it's done for me. I mean, that's it. Or if
I
somebody
feel
makes
that's something that, you figure out and you realize that you have other things in common with other people. And, people come and go into your life. And
yes, as we grow, we're growing too as humans and as people. And, and when you're having those growth spurts and things like that, that's really when you do recognize, some people weren't meant for that growth, and that's okay.
that is totally okay. It is okay to outgrow yourself. It's okay to outgrow yourself 10, 20 times. As long as you are growing and you are working towards a better self, you can evolve as many times as you want.
Yeah.
And it's okay to let people go. It's okay to put yourself first. It's like you said, it's not selfish, it's self-care. So
yes, absolutely. Sarah,
I know.
this has been, of course, always so wonderful to have you on here. Your beautiful voice, everything that you do on Instagram for us, for your community, our community, just everything. We just can't thank you enough. Is there anything that you want to leave everybody with before we wrap up today?
Just know that you are loved. You are so deeply loved, and there is always a space for you. I find that I have a lot of women coming to me and opening up, and my page is a safe place. Chasing the Rainbows is a safe place. The reason that I show up on social media, there's so many days that I tell my husband how hard it is to keep going. Like, is this worth it? But then I get DMs of so many of you reaching out and saying how important having somebody else to talk to that gets it. And so I just want you to know to keep sharing, keep telling your story. You will find your tribe. You will. And I hope that you find it through Chasing the Rainbows, because it's just, you are doing such heavenly work and it's just so beautiful. And I hope more women just find their people on the internet and that you feel loved.
Oh, Sarah, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, trying again doesn't mean moving on. Wanting another baby doesn't mean forgetting the ones we lost. If you are trying to conceive after a loss, you're grieving in silence, or struggling while the world keeps moving forward around us, you belong here. Please reach out to us on chasingtherainbows.org. If you need any of our support services, we are here for you. Until next time.